It wouldn't be a Timmsy and Pang podcast without a monster crack to start us off. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the inaugural BTP podcast where we go beyond the program with everything coaching, bodybuilding, and lifestyle fitness. My name is Pang and I'm joined by my co-host Timmsy. Timmsy, mate, we're done it. We're doing it.
Yeah. We're doing it, man. We're finally putting our words into action, which has been a very, very big lesson for me this year. But super, super glad to be on this and to be giving the people some more insight into our lives.
Well, we say like finally putting words into action. It's only been a week that this has been a concept, so it's been pretty quick.
I've wanted to do a podcast for so long, just not having someone to do it with. Like you need someone that's going to gel, that you're going to work well with. And when you approached me for it, it was literally the perfect time. I'm like, you know what? Screw it. Let's just do it, man. I can set aside a time and let's just go for it. Let's go for glory.
Yeah, 100%. Same thing on my end. It's always been like one of those pipeline things. Oh, maybe I'll do that one day if you find the right person. But that has always been a barrier. And I guess that leads us into our first topic of today, which is how the podcast was conceived and what the purpose behind BTP is. So basically the idea came from, I was having one of those like nights of sleep where I could not sleep. Everyone knows in a deficit, you have those nights where your brain just won't switch off. And I was thinking about, like, obviously we all love consuming, bodybuilding media, looking at, the science-based world, listening to really experienced coaches and bodybuilders talk about their experience and gaining some knowledge from that. And I did just have this thought of, what if there was a space for younger coaches, younger bodybuilders to sort of talk about their trials and tribulations, because the experienced ones, yes, they do have the experience and it's like awesome to be able to hear that, but they're talking about it in retrospect. So The idea was, what if there was the two of us who, I'm about a year and a half into coaching and you're just about to get started in your coaching journey. We've both sort of dabbled in bodybuilding. I've done 2 seasons, you've done 1, so we're still very, very fresh in terms of the bodybuilding world. Yeah. And it's like, well, what if we were talking about our experiences and lessons that we were learning in real time? So that was where it came from for me, and I thought you were the perfect person to do it with, mate. Like, we can obviously chat about how, I'll let you tell the story of how we met, but we obviously formed a really good friendship through bodybuilding, and I feel like our insights are going to bring some value to a lot of people. So, yeah, what about on your end, mate?
No, well, look, I've always wanted to do a podcast. Like, I think it's something that, has always been in the back of my mind in terms of, like, when I started, you start listening to the other podcasts, like you mentioned, and there is so much good media out there. Like, obviously the Prep Coach podcast boys, they do a fantastic job. Bodybuilding Down Under. Once you're in, you're in. Board Shorts and Banner, they're phenomenal podcasts that are out there that, offer some really great insight into the world. But a lot of it's a lot more advanced for what people really like want to listen to and need, in a sense. And we're going to come through that angle of, we don't know it all. We fucking know, like, a minuscule amount, but we're going to learn as we go, and we're going to hopefully bring the viewers along for the ride, and they can pick up something that we also learn along the way, which is just, I think, a really, really valuable experience for both us and the viewers.
Yeah, 100%. And the hope is in, like, 1 year's time, 2 years' time, 3 years' time, we've gained some knowledge and we're now the unks doing the thing.
That is definitely the goal and the plan. But no, man, I'm super excited. I mean, like, I wouldn't want to do it with anyone else other than you, man. It's, when you approached me with the idea, it was literally like, perfect opportunity. So I'm so glad we're on our way to starting, man.
Oh man, the feeling's mutual. So yeah, if anyone wasn't clear on the purpose of the podcast, it's obviously to bring value to any younger coaches, people wanting to get into the coaching world, young bodybuilders, aspiring bodybuilders, or even just general fitness goers that want to know a little bit more context around what professional bodybuilding is like, or, what coaching is like, and just chatting some shit about the things that we go through on the
100%.
daily, on the weekly. So it's always a space just for a little bit of fun, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, you got to have a little bit of banter. There's got to be some sort of, some sort of thing that pulls people in other than just the information. So hopefully we can bring
a little bit of carry on. Little bit of carry on.
This is the carry on. That's all I need.
Yeah. Well, so you've got the monster, but this is what I chose for today. This is my killer coffee mug. This is a 500 ml coffee mug.
That's
So I'm
massive.
pretty much getting like this. Yeah, it's like fucking huge, dude. So yeah, I'm getting like almost the same amount of liquid in that you are.
Mine's just better.
Yours is better. Well, so let's get in. Let's get into it.
Yeah,
Let's get into it today.
sounds
So
good.
today's episode, we're starting so well.
Yeah,
Today's
it's great. It's
episode is
fantastic.
basically Today's episode is basically an intro to us introducing you to each host. Obviously, we're both from different states in Australia, so we've both got different audiences. So I thought this is a really good opportunity to introduce ourselves to either audience, and even like I know some of like people that consume my content probably don't know the full story or haven't been around for the entire time, and probably the same with yourself. So
Yeah.
let's go into basically how we both got into bodybuilding and how we both got into coaching as well. So, Timsy, if you want to start us off, mate, tell me your story. How did you get into competitive bodybuilding? How did you get into the gym? And how did you transition now to getting into coaching?
Yeah, so, like, I mean, well, it's probably all started, like, back in, like, 2013, 2014 when I was young. I reckon I got my first dumbbell set, the 20-kilo dumbbell set you get from Rebel Sport, like, everyone gets. Probably got that for Christmas on my birthday, and I think it was, like, the best thing ever. Like, I would use them every single day, but I had no structure. It was just doing a couple sets here and there in the mirror, thinking that I'm going to grow like and look like Arnold Schwarzenegger, but really wasn't the case. So, and then I guess it just progressed. So, when I was at high school, I used to play basketball growing up, competitive basketball on the weekends, and after during that period, I actually fractured my tibia. So that put me out of basketball for a long time. And, when you are doing something active that you love and can no longer do it, it kind of messes with your head, a lot. You're sitting in one place the entire time, not being able to move and to do the thing you love. So, I put myself into the gym. There was a local gym. Shout out to Cole at the pit, which is literally the first gym I ever walked into. Went down there and pretty much just started training and doing what I could. There was, little information of how I should start and stuff like that. He obviously, helped me along that path. Um, and it started pretty inconsistent. Like, I'd go maybe two times a week and then, kind of take a week off and then go again a couple of times and wasn't consistent. And then all of a sudden something flicked in my brain and I'm like, you know what? I actually really enjoy this. This is something that I really, really love. And I, made a decision. It was like, you know what? I'm going to give this a red hot crack. So I basically in 2019 spent most of the year in the gym just working on putting on some size. I was a pretty skinny kid, tall, lanky guy that, it was my biggest thing that was actually trying to put on some weight. So eating upwards of 5,500 calories just to put on some weight. And
Mate,
then
you are living.
trust me, anyone that knows anyone knows that calories, 5,500 calories put down every single day knows it's not a good thing. It is a
That's
struggle.
hard. No, it's
I'm
so
on,
hard.
at the moment, I'm on 5,000 calories, man, and it's a battle every single day. Like if you don't wake up at a certain time to eat, you're missing your
Oh,
food.
you
So
screwed.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's terrible. Anyway, yeah, so I spent all that 2019 pretty much putting on muscle, and then I actually entered my first competition prep in 2020 with Colin Mosh Minard as my coach. So I don't think you knew that.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, there
What?
you go. Yeah, so so
Oh,
2020
I
was like
said you did one season, didn't I?
yeah,
Oh, shit.
that's why I
Okay.
did the two.
Sorry. Sorry. Redact that. Timsy's done 2 seasons as well. Didn't
Um,
even tell me.
yeah, there you go. Yeah, so 2020 was the year of the COVID, obviously. So I was prepping throughout that entire experience, which, ultimately at the time I thought was like the worst thing ever. But looking back now, it's kind of like, that being around that environment and like, only having access to so much equipment and certain stuff, you kind of use that now and go, you know what, if I can do it in a COVID period where, shit's limited, I can do it when there's literally nothing stopping me. So it was a good way to kind of build some fortitude around it all. But yeah, so competed at the end of 2020 just because of all the COVID shows got pushed back, and then ended up placing first in my open division. Ethan, which is another guy that I was going up against, one of my good mates in the thing, was in the other open division, and we actually never got to battle it on stage. So technically, I am the same as him. Well, I'll hold I'll hold him that one if he ever
That's
listens.
that.
But
Is that Ethan that's also coached by Scotty?
That is Ethan, also coached by Scotty. So at one point in
Okay. Yep.
time, I was holding a gold medal on stage when he was there too. So I'm just going to take that to the grave.
For anyone that doesn't know, Ethan is a pro in multiple federations, I think,
Yeah.
in men's physique.
No, men's fitness,
Men's physique? Men's
fitness.
fitness. Men's fitness.
Yeah, he's an
Yes,
absolute
very
weapon.
good athlete. Very, very,
Very,
like,
yeah.
really conditioned.
And also, like, one of the most humble people you ever meet. Like, he's just such a nice guy to be around. So, I mean, as an experience for first show, he was like literally the perfect person to meet and actually do a show with because, after that, we just became friends, which was, kind of how we, funny enough, how Julian and I got, but we'll get to that. Anyway, so yeah,
We'll
finished
get
that
to that.
show and then ended up parting ways with Cole. Not because of anything bad, just because, he could see that my love and passion for the sport was outgrowing, what he could provide. And then I joined on with Mr. Scott Morrell, which obviously is both of our coaches now. And I've been with Scott ever since. I did my last round of shows in 2024, competed 6 times, competed in Tassie, Victoria, Bali, and Brisbane. Absolute mega season. I did do fitness again, but I also did classic, which is kind of where I want to stay. And yeah, so wrapped up that season in Bali, which was awesome. And now it's pretty much been 3 years of an off season, or 2 years of an off season, with plans to compete in 805 days. Got a little, oh, you can't even see, I got a little counter on my phone. So 805 days, which is the
You,
end of 2028.
you've actually got a counter on your phone.
Yeah, it counts down. It's been counting down from like
Wow.
literally after the day after my last show in 2024. I slapped a timer on there for 2028 October, like rough time because shows went out. But yeah,
Yeah.
so that's
Wild.
that's my bodybuilding
Locked in
story,
from
man.
the
I'm
start.
locked in. You got to be. You got to have a goal to achieve. And the way I say it to people, you break it down, right? So 805 days, you break that down by 7, because you only trade 5 days a week. So you divide that by, 7 days a week, 5 sessions. How many more sessions do you have before you step on stage? You then break it out into individual sessions. Okay, I've got so many leg sessions left before I step on stage. And that puts a number on it and goes, holy shit, it might be 57 weeks away, but I've only got 57 leg sessions left. And that puts, you
Yep.
in a different
Yep.
different mindset and different condition when you go into the gym. You go, okay, this isn't leg session 57. I have to make this fucking count.
Yep. Especially when you're in a long off season, it is good to break it
100%.
down like that. Now, before we get into how you then transitioned into wanting to get into coaching, let me just ask you one question. You mentioned that you had that moment of, being a little bit inconsistent in the gym. And then you had that moment of clarity of, I want to take this a little bit more seriously, and then got into the competitive side of it. What do you think was the mental switch there for you? Like, what was the thing that said, oh, I want to put a little bit more effort and time into this?
Oh, it's hard because it's like, it's always about like being active, I guess. Like I was always an active kid. And so like not being able to do that and then finding something where I could do it was just like a great trade-off. And then obviously once I got better, it was like, okay, I could go back to basketball, but I'm not. I really enjoy this. And I think the biggest like driver behind that is like a basketball game. Yeah, you finish the game, you either win or you lose, right? Or you draw. Let's be real. There's 3 options here. In the gym, there's no winning, there's no losing, there's no drawing. There's only showing up and trying to do better. And there's no, one day you might lift a certain weight for a certain amount of reps. The next day you might lift the same weight with more reps, right? It continues. There's no ceiling, there's no height. You go, okay, in today in the gym, I won. I did, that's it. I could never get any better than that. So there's no ceiling on it. And I think that was something that just drew me. It was like, you know what? As much as you put in, it's as much as you get out. Excuse me. So it's just like one of those things yeah, it's you versus you in the most basic way.
Yeah, I agree. It's that constant progression that you're trying to get each and every single time you come in, and very
100%.
different to like regular sport in terms of the training is like the training sessions aren't just about preparing you for the game. Like
No.
you don't go in and win a training session when you're playing basketball or football or soccer. You don't win a training session. Whereas in bodybuilding, it's like, okay, you've got 5 training sessions in a week and you need to win each and every
Yeah,
single one.
100%. And it's just about that
And
continuous
then you
improvement as
compete
well.
once
Like,
every 3 or 4 years.
yeah, literally like
Yeah.
if you do this sport because you want to compete, I mean, if it's not the right thing. Like you're competing for, 5 minutes you got to have a love. Like I tell everyone, you got to have a love for actually training and training hard, and eating the same food every single day if you want to progress in this. Because if you do it for a little plastic trophy and 5 minutes of fame on stage, it's the wrong reason.
100%. 100%. All right. Well, let's chat about how you then got into coaching. Obviously, you're a full-time Sparky at the moment, but you are transitioning into coaching, and you've already got a few online clients, I do believe.
Yep.
So tell me about what went into that decision and how you're going about that now.
Yeah, so I mean, if you haven't been follow along the Trader Trainer series, got to put a little plug in there. But yeah, basically, I'm a Sparky, full time Sparky, and I've been doing for the last year doing my Cert 3 and Cert 4 on the side, and then more recently, over the last couple of months, I've actually started putting myself out there and saying that, all right, I'm going to take on online clients, just to fitness and lifestyle clients that want to just help with losing a bit of weight, getting a bit more structure around their life and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's crazy. I was actually having a bit of a self-reflection last night about this. Like, it was literally a year ago where I hadn't even decided to start my Cert 3 because I was scared of scared of doing it, scared of taking that step. Scared of making a fool of myself if I was ready. And, I was thinking that I was so grateful for my circle of friends that I had at that time and still currently have, that kind of told me to pull my head out of my ass and go for it. So it basically, yeah, all started last year. I started my cert, knocked off the cert 3, and then I am, pretty much very close to finishing my cert 4, which is absolutely, super, super exciting. I'm actually filming a bunch of practicals today for it. But yeah, I think that's kind of where it all started. And, I just want to be a sponge, bro, in this industry. I just want to soak up as much as I can and learn as much as I can from whoever I can, because, the second you walk into a room and think know it all, you are the dumbest person there. So without a doubt. Um,
That is one of my strongest beliefs of as
yeah,
soon as you think you know everything, you're done.
yeah, 100%, man. So yeah, I'm just super, super excited to learn. And yeah, like you mentioned, I have a few online clients, which is awesome. Like, they're phenomenal. They get like literally all my time. Like, I try to be on my phone as much as possible when it comes to clients, and they have that pretty much 24/7 support, because I've been there. I know what it's like not to know what the fuck to do, and some of them just need that reassurance, which is so easy to do, because they're doing so well that you just need to pull them, like someone did for me with my cert. You just need to pull their head, out and tell them that, they're actually doing good. So that's
Yeah,
how it kind of
they
started. And
have potential there to do something.
100%, man. And people put, like I say, you put yourself in a box, and like the only person that's stopping you from achieving those goals is yourself. So, but yeah, the hopes is to eventually finish the Cert 4, which is, I've given myself a deadline by end of July, which is well and truly enough time. And then I'm going to start working as a PT on the weekends, and then eventually make that transition where I go, you know what, it is time to hang up the hard hat, put up the boots, and go full in on the PT and online coaching side of my life. So that's the next chapter, man.
Man, you're going to need a full new wardrobe. You got the
Oh,
Sparky overalls every single day.
bro, I've got to get rid of so many clothes. It's ridiculous. It's actually ridiculous.
No, no, no. Just keep them in the wardrobe. Let them collect some dust. They'll be fine. Oh, that's good, man. Like a really, really good story, and like pleasure for me to be able to hear some of those things for the first time as well. Didn't realize there was a first season there. My
Yeah,
bad.
bro.
My
First
bad.
season. I'll have to show you some photos after this. But yeah, Timsy was he was a
Please do.
baby. He was a baby. He was a peeled baby. I'll
Deal,
I'll, I'll I'll note that I was peeled on stage. I haven't gone on stage yet, but not
mate.
peeled.
I
But
was going to say,
yeah,
you conditioning is never an issue for you. Conditioning is
no.
never an issue
I
for you.
was ready. I was in 2024. I was ready 28 weeks out, man. It's
Nuts.
ridiculous.
Absolutely nuts. All right. Well, thank you very much for sharing that, Timsy. Listening to your story, actually, there is definitely a few similarities with how I got into bodybuilding and coaching for sure. Um, Similar in the fact of always being a skinnier kid.
Yeah,
But I was in the sporting world as well. I was in AFL football. So playing that as a junior, and found that I was never really like that good. I always felt like I was very average at everything. So I was very much average skill level, average cardiorespiratory, not the quickest. I was always kind of like middle of the park. So I wasn't
yeah.
like the bench warmer, but I was always middle of the road on anything. I actually went down a cardio route first. So
Yeah,
I
right.
really tried to get into, longer runs, sprint efforts. I went keto for a little bit in 2018, I think,
Yeah,
and
wow.
like really tried to go down the cardio bunny route. Then got to a point of probably around that 2020 mark as well, where I got into the gym a little bit more, same as you, fiddle farting around, chest on Monday, arms on Wednesday, shoulders and arms on
The
Friday, and then that
classics,
was it.
classic
Uh,
split.
Oh, terrible. Like so dumb. But yeah, probably went through that stage in 2019, 2020, and then got into the COVID era. Definitely got into running more then. But then I feel like fitness YouTube had a big boom in that point.
Big time.
So
Yeah.
I started watching a few YouTubers and figuring out if I wanted to actually put on size and wanted to feel a little bit stockier, that might actually help rather than trying to be the quickest, because that was never going to happen.
Yeah.
So I started getting into the gym a little bit more, taking it a little bit more seriously, figured out that I was majorly under fueling myself as well. So very quickly went from 75 kilo Julian to 80 kilo Julian in about, space of 2 years.
Yeah.
And doing that as a slow progression as a skinny dude, that takes a while. Um, but basically in 2022, I was training a lot more seriously, and I'd really sort of like got into the 5 or 6 day sessions a week split. So like the push pull legs, or push pull legs upper lower.
Yeah.
And then got to a point where, and I feel really bad saying this because I'm still friends with a lot of these people, and I actually coach some of the boys that I used to play footy with now as well. But I had a look around this football club, and these guys were like 35, 40 years old, been there since they were 18, and just they would come in on a weekend, get absolutely maggoted pissed every Saturday night, tell their missus that they got held up in traffic because they didn't want to go home, and then do it all again the next week. I'm like, is this really it? Is this all
That's
we're going to do?
That's
Um,
Australian culture, mate.
It is, and there was nothing wrong with that, and I just didn't want to do that anymore.
Mm.
So I got to the point where I was a little bit sick of doing it, and I thought, well, I'm going to stop playing football, but I need to do something else. At the time, I had a friend who was a PT and a coach, and he said, well, have you ever thought about doing bodybuilding? Like, you've got the structure for it, you've been training for a while, maybe just give it a crack. And so that was what I did in 2023. I just had a crack. I honestly thought it was going to be a one and done, just something to do for that year.
Yeah.
Um, Ended up getting its nails and claws into me from that first show, and I was like, okay, I'm in. I'm
It
in
does
now.
that.
So
It
I
definitely does
did.
that.
It does that. Oh, it's addicting. And same thing as you said, having that competitive spirit and getting addicted to the progression each week is something that I fell into. So I think my first season, I probably did it for the wrong reasons. I probably did it for the social media notoriety, did it for
Yeah.
the trophy, did it for the accolades. And then very soon after that, I figured out, okay, that's not a good thing to be doing, but I can change something mentally and I can keep going in bodybuilding as long as I make a mental switch.
Yeah.
And I definitely did do that. So I took out a state title in my first show, which was awesome. And then after that, went into an off season, but figured out that I wanted to compete fairly quickly after that. And full credit to my coaches at the time, same as your coach Cole. So Mark and Sarah were my coaches in the first season, and I said to them, I want to go pro. I think I want to go a little bit further than just the state level.
Yeah.
And they very honestly said, awesome, good on you, but we're not the people to take you there. So made a transition to a different coach, and went into the 2024 season C season, did 5 shows in that season, and managed to get my ICM pro card in the final show of the season, which was awesome. Then went into a 2-year off season, and now am 9 weeks out from
Yeah.
my 3rd season, which
Here
is
we
very,
go.
very exciting. Yeah,
Unreal, man.
getting conditioned, man, getting peeled.
Oh,
So
bro.
very exciting to be back into the competitive world.
Yeah, man. You were looking absolutely insane, bro.
Sorry,
Like,
you're gonna have to say that. Yeah, like going into my 3rd season now and going to be making my pro debut with ICM in Classic Physique, but also got a number of other shows planned. Hoping to go pro in another couple of federations would be lovely. But again, I've made that mental switch and sort of grown as a person, I believe, in terms of understanding that it's not about the accolades, it's not about the trophies, it's not about getting number one. It's about being better than your previous season and just enjoying the process. I think exactly like you said, understanding that it's bodybuilding and you're built in the off season, conditioned in the prep. Whereas like some people just see it as like summer shredding. And
Without a
it's like,
doubt, 100%.
it's not that. It's
I
not
think
that at all.
I think as well for longevity in this sport, you've got to enjoy the process apart from just the destination because the destination it is like honestly, and it's something that I'm going to be working on next time I do jump on stage. I cannot remember a lot about my 6 shows. Like I did 6 shows, and to say that I can sit here and go, I actually can't remember a lot about them purely because it just happens so quickly. There is so much that goes on, and so you think, okay, I was basically training for it for 4 years 4 years compared to 5 minutes on stage. Is it really worth the trade-off if all I care about is that last bit of it where I'm on stage flexing my muscles and getting medals for it? So
I 100% know what you mean there, man, because there's certain shows where I definitely have that feeling as well.
yeah,
And in contrast, in our previous season, so my partner Danica is also a bodybuilder as well.
yeah,
We went and did a 2 show weekend. So we did an NBA show in South Australia on the Saturday, and then we did an ICN show in Ballarat on the Sunday. And these shows were very much like added on, and we kind of had the attitude of it's just getting eyes in front of the judges, getting more time on stage. So there was kind of less pressure on those, and that was the most fun that I had across that entire season. Probably the most fun I've had across both of my bodybuilding seasons because present, remember everything, and just like so much fun on that weekend, even though it was quite stressful and quite hectic traveling between 2 states on the same weekend. But it was just so much fun because there was no pressure
yeah. Well,
and you were present for
that
everything.
was literally like my last show in Bali in 2024. So like I competed obviously in Bali, and it was the first time NBA did a international show in Bali. So the numbers weren't like huge, but like they were pretty decent across the board. And so it was myself and Hayden, which was also one of Scotty's clients in Classic. So we're the only two in Classic. So it was literally just us two doing rounds after rounds with each other. Joey Cantlin was on the mic. He was just, he was telling us to do poses. We were sweeping each other's quads. We were just having an absolute ball up there. And because when we were up there, like I can say, like for myself, and I'm pretty sure I'd say the same thing about him. We didn't give a shit about the medal. It had nothing to do with the placing. It had nothing at all. We were just up there as two guys who both had respect for each other because we trained hard, we were in condition, and we were just up there just enjoying the time to show off our muscles and to have a good time up there with each other. Like it was one of the most rewarding experiences I've ever had in bodybuilding, and it had nothing to do with the placing.
100%. 100%. So, yeah, that's how I got into bodybuilding. And then in terms of how I got started coaching,
Please.
um, after my 2023 season, so the first bodybuilding season, obviously I'd been working with Mark and Sarah, as I mentioned. They were in-person PTs as well as online coaches. And I think I fell in love with that relationship that we built having in-person sessions each week and saw them helping people and listening to them talk about it. I think I'd had the thought of being a in-person PT when I was like 18, 19, but I don't think I was mentally ready. So it had always been in the back of my mind, but I think, okay, like there's something here. So at that point I was working in hospitality full time. And so I started doing my Cert 3 and 4 on the side there. Took me roughly a year to get through all of it just because of, trying to balance bodybuilding, full-time work, all that sort of thing. As you know, it takes a little bit longer than what you think sometimes. But I started coaching at the end of the 2024 season, very deliberately timed it that way to be like, okay, just finished the bodybuilding season, just turned pro, now starting
I
coaching.
still remember your post putting it out there. I still remember it. You're
Mate,
sitting,
I was
you're sitting
I
on
was
your
so
chair
hyped.
just like you're doing now, and you're swiveling with your posters behind you. It was the fucking best, man. I loved it. I was
I
so
can't I
excited.
can't help it, man. I need to fidget. So this is my thing of fidgeting is moving backwards and forwards. Um, but yeah, started coaching, in-person PTing and online coaching. Started very, very small with, 3 or 4 clients, now all the way up to 35 plus, which is awesome.
Unreal.
And some really, really great results and just pleasure working with so many people,
Yeah.
different personalities, different lifestyles, but all able to dedicate themselves and seeing that you have an impact on someone's life when they say, thank you for helping me get here, even though it's literally like, I've helped you get here, you've done the work. it's such a rewarding experience. So to be a year and a half into coaching and already having these successes is awesome, because you hear so many horror stories of, 80% of PTs leave in their first year, or, people just like burn out and can't get through. So to be able to stay in the industry for, I say this long, but it's only been a year and a half, and I'm
Yeah,
still feeling like I'm very fresh in the game.
100%.
Um, but to still be here and still be enjoying this and still be progressing forward is absolutely amazing. So, yeah, I'm coaching lifestyle clients mostly. I've got a couple of people at the moment that are aspiring bodybuilders. They're not necessarily wanting to compete within the next year, but they
Yeah,
definitely want to compete further down the line. And I think that works well for me, because in terms of getting someone to stage, there's a lot that goes into that. I feel like I could diet someone down to get very, very conditioned, but then the process of peaking and getting them like bang on 100% for show day, that takes a little bit more nuance. And that's something that I'm not really confident with, especially only less than 2 years into coaching. Like, it's
yeah,
easy to stick someone in a deficit and get them lean,
100%.
but balancing fullness, leanness, and like on the day peaking them absolutely perfectly. I think there's a few more things that I need to do on that front, a few more bits of education that I need to do. Currently doing my Cert 4 in nutrition to be able to give out meal plans. So for any client or coach that is giving out meal plans without a Cert 4 in nutrition, naughty. You are not allowed to do that.
Yeah, the best
So
you can do is
yeah, for any
recommend.
clients that are getting rogue meal plans, just ask your coach or personal trainer if
Yeah.
they do have their Cert 4 in nutrition.
The biggest thing, if it doesn't seem right, it doesn't look right, it's probably not right. You know, if it quacks like a duck,
No.
walks like a duck, and looks like a duck, it's probably a fucking duck. So in terms of coaching, obviously PT, how do you schedule your week? Is it something that you know have like all your clients on one day, or is it spread out throughout the week? What's your go there?
So it is fairly evenly spread in terms of in person and online. So when I first started, I was doing in person PT Monday to Friday, just fitting everyone in when I sort of could. And then I was still
Yeah,
working my hospitality job on the weekend. But as it's gotten into contest prep, I've tightened up my hours a little bit more and just sort of sectioned out my days a bit better, just so I can be nice and organized. So basically, bulk of online check-ins goes on a Monday. So Monday is a complete at-home day. So online check-ins, program updates, all happen on Mondays, and then there's more check-ins on Tuesday as well, and then a couple on Wednesday. Thursday and Friday are generally pretty clear at the moment. I like to schedule them in just so I can sort of get in that headspace, get a bit of a momentum ball rolling with the sort of workload.
yeah,
So in terms of online stuff, Thursday and Friday will be more about, either getting prepared for the next week if there's like a bulk amount of program updates that need doing, or content planning, content filming, all that sort of stuff you need to do for your social media. And then at the moment, in terms of in person, I'm doing Tuesday through Friday. So I just figured out that I could actually squeeze everyone into that 4 day sort of period, even though I'm
yeah,
doing, 25, 30 sessions a week. I can squeeze them in pretty well. And I kind of like, same thing. I would rather go like 5 sessions back to back to back to back rather than big gaps in between, because you
yeah.
sort of lose your momentum. You sort of fiddle fart around. You don't have enough time to get stuff done. So I'm like, I will just schedule them back to back and like cram everyone in, and you can still maintain a decent quality of work, I feel like, with 5 sessions.
100%.
Um, but yeah, that's kind of what it looks like. I like to leave my weekends fairly free just so I can spend time, with my partner. I can go see my family, go see my friends. But as you will become to find out, that when you run a online business and work for yourself, there's no real time off. So WhatsApp messages stay open. That's when a lot of my admin stuff will get done as well, actual business admin, which is the fun part. But yeah, it's one of those jobs that you kind of always got a little bit in the back of your mind 24/7, but
Yeah.
trying to schedule your weeks in terms of work blocks is something that I've found really handy, just to take a little bit of the stress off, because otherwise you are literally switched on 24/7. So that's something that I've probably changed coming into this contest prep, that I'm going to definitely keep moving forward, just to sort of maintain a little bit of balance. There's no real work-life balance usually, but you got to try and maintain something.
No, 100%. Absolutely.
All
No,
right.
it's
So with that,
oh,
yeah,
yeah,
go,
go on.
go.
Oh, yeah, I
No,
was
no.
just gonna say I'm finding the similar thing with obviously the Cert 4 study, like, actually scheduling time, in my day makes me, a lot more achievable in terms of getting work done. So if I just say, at the end of the day, I'm going to schedule from 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock, that's a study block. I literally do not miss it. And it's like, okay, I'm at my desk from 5 to 6 and I'm working on it. So I can completely
Yeah.
understand where you are from that aspect, 100%.
Yeah, and that is like we said that we were going to talk about our struggles in real time. That is something that I do struggle with. So I'm doing my Cert 4 in nutrition, as I mentioned, to supplement everything that I'm doing at the moment. And that is definitely the thing that gets put to the side at the moment. And I'm terrible at scheduling time to sit down. I suck at studying too. There's a reason that I did not go to university, and it's because I fucking hate study. I hate it so much.
Yeah,
So setting aside time for that, like you said, of like it is a structured appointment almost is
yeah,
a very
100%.
smart thing to do. That is just the one thing that I'm struggling with at the moment. So that's what I need to prioritize.
I'm sure it'll come, my friend.
I'm sure it will come. Oh, with that, Timsy, why don't we get into the story of how we met? So, obviously, we met in the 2024 bodybuilding season. So, not a really fresh friendship, but something that's, been a blossoming friendship for the past 2 years. So, look, from my perspective, we were at a NBA state show in Tasmania,
Yep.
and funnily enough, we met doing our piss test together. So
We sure did, man.
both both took out an overall, which was awesome. And then we ended up in this little room with Scotty, I do believe.
Yep.
Um, and yeah, both went off to take our piss test together and compared levels of hydration.
I will take the cake for that one. I was more hydrated than you.
You were very clear. Mine was almost like battery acid. So
Yeah, it wasn't good. I'm pretty sure Scotty made mention of it too, but
yeah, he actually was not happy with that. He was not
yeah,
happy at all.
I mean, it just goes to show that you do not need to be dehydrated on show day, and that's probably something that a lot of people, there's still a misconception around it too, that you have to be dehydrated to technically dry out, and it's completely bullshit.
Mm,
So
mm.
it's
And I will clarify there because I don't want to throw any shade at my previous coach. That was not deliberate dehydration. That was just
no, no, of course,
purely
yeah,
probably me being quite nervous. I had two divisions back to back, so I didn't have a lot of water in between. Not by deliberate means. It's just sort of happened that way. Whereas I think
yeah.
you were like very, very topped up.
And I think too, I think you took out 2 overalls if I'm not mistaken.
I did. I did.
So I think you had a little bit more stage time and were a little bit more under the pump than I was.
A little bit. And that was a good classic lineup that day as well. The bodybuilding lineup was quite small. It was only me and one
Yeah,
other bloke, but then the classic lineup was quite dense. And I was like, oh, okay,
yeah.
that's cool.
No, it was sick, man. And like you said, it was literally like, it hasn't been a long friendship, but man, like, I feel like I've known you my entire life. And sometimes you just click with
Yeah.
people like that. It's kind of good that we got a funny story to say that, we literally became friends over like literally watching someone else watch us piss. Like,
Yes. But then continued the friendship on through that whole season. Like I think I saw you
100%.
at another two shows after that. And you
Yeah.
were one of my biggest support crew at ICN Nationals, man. So I was like,
Yeah, man.
this is awesome. I feel like I
And
only
then
met this bloke a few weeks ago.
literally, I had my last leg session of prep with you. Um,
Yes. Yes, we
So
did
you were
too.
you obviously had started your off season, and I was obviously still competing because I had my last show in Bali, and we had a session at Powerhouse, and literally you and Danica were there, and yeah, we went through a huge leg session and got some nice footage and stuff like that, and literally the friendship just blossomed from there, man.
Started my off season, you say. I think I had smashed about maybe 12,000 calories over two
You know,
days.
it's funny you say that.
That's a pretty good
I
start to an off season, I'd say.
explicitly remember the breakfast you had that morning, the pre-workout, because I remember getting sent a photo. It was
Oh,
the Cinnamon Toast Crunch cereal.
yes.
And I remember you sending me a photo of like this motherfucker. Like, I would love some cinnamon toast for crunch right now.
And do you know what made that better? I can't say the brand now because we are with Altered Nutrition, but it was Cinnamon Toast Crunch with a cinnamon cereal protein shake over the
Oh,
top. And it was just,
delicious.
I tell you what though, I got that box of cinnamon cereal for like $12 at some fucking service station.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it
because
was
it was like one of
very
those little American
expensive.
stores. Yeah.
Oh yeah, but
Well
so
worth
worth
it
it.
though. Well worth it.
100%. Why did you do the Tassie show? I never actually specifically asked you that.
Yeah, so the Tassie show. So basically so it did obviously Melbourne first, did classic for Melbourne, and then judges' feedback was pretty much straight away, and they said that, look, you're probably not big enough for classic, you're not suited for it, but we really think you have a good shot in fitness, essentially. So, I spoke to Scotty, and literally the day after my show, I was like, okay, well, if I'm going to do fitness, I want to have a run at it and give it a shot without, like, going into a big crowd or, a big show that I'm, going to look so out of place that I have no idea what's going on. So literally had that conversation with Scotty. The next day we booked flights to Tassie. And yeah, went over the following. Well, Tassie was the following weekend, so literally went over the following weekend to the Tassie show. It was actually really nice too. My parents surprised me and booked flights as well, so they joined me, which is
Oh, they didn't tell
super,
you.
super. No, they didn't tell me. And then I found out like literally on the day that they were coming over as well, which is awesome to have that support with them. There's actually a funny story with my old man at the airport. So because we were literally fly in, fly out for the show, we got there, and my dad likes to talk. He likes to get to know people and stuff. So he was talking to the flight attendant obviously on
So
the way
that's
there.
so that's where you get that from, huh?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's definitely trickles down from him 100%. Could talk a brick off a wall, mate. Um, so yeah, so he was chatting to the flight attendant on the way there, and then on the way home, we had the same flight attendant, funny enough. And she goes, "Oh, you're back already?" And then my dad literally like goes into my bag, pulls out the gold medals, and he goes, "Yeah, we just wanted to come to Tassie, steal your gold, and fuck off." And she was just sitting there like absolutely pissing herself. I'm just sitting on, I'm like literally head in my head. I'm like, what is he doing? But
He's
yeah,
gone
so
full. He's gone full Conor McGregor.
oh, 100%, man. So yeah, that's literally why we did Tassie, and then obviously took out the state title there. It wasn't a huge lineup as well, but it was never really about the placing. It was more so just getting about like experience on the ground and having an idea of how they want me to pose, because I spent my entire prep, essentially prepping for classic and posing classic, that I didn't really practice any fitness poses. So
Yep.
that's how. It's funny that literally we wouldn't have been as friends if like certain things didn't align. It's crazy how the world works sometimes.
No, I know. It was meant to be. And just on that as well, you said obviously you were aiming for classic. NBA fitness obviously has a weight cap. Did you have to dig pretty hard to get underneath that weight cap? Was there a little bit of wiggle room? How did that sort of
Yeah,
work?
so I was what was it? I was six. I had to be under 70 kilos, so I had to be 69 kilos on stage. Originally for the first show, I didn't have to. I was pretty much like there. But then
Yeah.
as we went further into the shows, my body just started to hold a bit more water, which kind of was a bit more painful, and we had to kind of dig a bit harder. But I mean, my body's pretty good in terms of losing weight, so like it wasn't like insane protocols to drop weight or anything like that. It was just more so just being aware of it and being and maintaining that the weight leading up into the show. And I mean, Scotty was all over it. He knew exactly what to do. Like there was no crazy protocols where I was spending hours in a sauna or like running marathons before just trying to sweat out as much water or anything like that. It was pretty much an easy transition, as you'd say.
And when you say like body weight creeped up a little bit, like are we talking a kilo or two? Like how much did you have to
Yeah, yeah.
drop
I
to
would
get all that?
no more than a kilo or anything. It was more so
Okay.
just a jump from like because I did so many shows. Like a lot of them were back to back. I think there
Yes.
was a week there where I literally did back to back to back to back 4 shows in a row. And yeah, like towards the end of it, like I think in Brisbane for NBA Nationals, my body was just starting to give out on me in the sense that it was just like, okay, we've had enough. 42 weeks of prep. So for 42 weeks of dieting, it's time to kind of stop this, Timsy. So I think it kind of started pulling back on me, and then we had the week off, and then went to Bali, and that's when it kind of came back alive when I got back to the system, and then Bali I did classic again, and again one of my favorite shows. Absolutely loved it. So
Yeah, and that is something about having a long season and doing back-to-back shows is that fatigue definitely builds up. I had a very similar experience. I reckon that'd be a good thing to get into in a future episode. Actually, is managing
100%,
back-to-back shows and all that sort of stuff. So
100%, man, without a doubt.
earmark that down. That's a good one. Alrighty,
Absolutely,
Timsy,
bro.
let's wrap this one up today. So, obviously, at the start of each episode, we have the monster crack from Timsy himself.
Yep.
The way we're going to wrap up each one, I thought of something that I can bring to the table. So, as I mentioned, I used to work in hospitality, and this cafe that I used to work at, mate, was either 100 miles an hour getting absolutely smashed or absolutely dead quiet, depending on the hour, and it would change quite quickly. But that does mean you got to find ways to pass the time. One of the ways that I
Yep.
did love to do this was what I call rogue get to know you questions. And it sort of means
Ooh.
that, yeah, it's kind of like, instead of your favorite color or, where'd you grow up, or the basic ones. It's a question that will tell me a lot about you as a person without explicitly telling me a lot about you. So the first
Okay,
one, it's easier if I give you an example. The first question
let's do it.
that I have for you for the inaugural episode, and any of the listeners, viewers, comment down below your answer as well. But the question is, Timsy, the Cadbury's favorites box. Which
Yes.
one are you grabbing for first? And which chocolate is going to be left at the bottom absolutely untouched?
Ooh, that is a good one. I think I'm gonna have to go Boost as the one I grab.
Oh, okay. Yep.
I'm a Boost man. I absolutely love it. With like closely followed by a Flake because I think Flake like it literally just melts in your mouth. It's fantastic. And then
Yeah.
the one,
Flake gets very crumbly though.
it does. Like when they brought out, 'cause originally they had the Flake, and then they obviously brought out the Twix, which is like the Flake wrapped up in like a little bit of coating. That's like
Yep.
elite. The Twix is elite.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, the Flakes gets up there because it's just straight in, melts in your mouth. But yeah, Boost for number one, and then for the bottom one, I'm gonna have to say not because I don't dislike it, just because I don't really feel like it's a chocolate. The Turkish delight.
Yeah. Turkish delight, very, very sweet, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, I just think it's like it's not really much of chocolate. Like it's got a little coating around the outside, and it's just I don't know. I find it more of like a lolly than a chocolate, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Which is
And it
kind of
hurts your
sounds
no, it does. It hurts your teeth.
yeah.
I'm with you there.
It's not worth bang for buck, not worth it.
100%. Agreed. Agreed.
What about
See, that
yourself,
tells
mate?
me a lot about you as a person. For me, so
Yep.
my one that I'm reaching for first is crunchy. I'm a
Ooh, good
big
shout.
honeycomb guy. Closely followed by the cherry ripe. I reckon the cherry ripe gets a lot of hate, but I'm a big cherry ripe fan as well.
Yep.
And then at the bottom of the box, we got the Morrow. And I think that's a very
Oh,
clear, distinct winner. Like you name
yeah.
every chocolate in the Cadbury's box, and then you say Morrow, and you're like, what is this doing in there?
What the fuck's a Morrow, mate? Like just what?
Exactly.
It's the
Exactly.
off-brand Mars bar, mate. What are we doing?
And it's not even a good off brand. You know how you get like some Temu finds that are actually all right? This is not one of them. This is
Yeah,
not one of them.
it's one of those things. You know, like though, if we are talking about chocolates, you know, when I do indulge in a sweet treat, very rarely, I
A
cannot
little
go
sweet
past.
treat?
I cannot go past an Aero mint chocolate.
Ooh,
I,
okay. I
I,
forgot about Aero.
I will die on the hill that mint chocolate is the best chocolate ever. I will die on that hill, and I don't care what anyone else says. I don't care if you think I'm brushing my teeth while eating chocolate. I do not care. Best thing in the world.
Mate, you need to indulge in some Aero a little bit more often. That'll help with your 5,000 calorie intake.
Well, it's funny. Like my mum actually bought some for me for my 25th birthday, like a few weeks back, but I haven't
Mm,
had it yet because when you eat so much food every day, that you don't really have any extra room for anything else that doesn't fit within those 5,000 calories. So I need to wait for a day where I'm like maybe feeling sick and like haven't eaten a meal and like just need to get some calories in. But it's not
mate,
something that
if it fits your macros, just follow it. Just have, chicken breast and then ditch the rice. You have the Aero. You got
yeah,
some good quality fats in there as well. Mate, you'll be
yeah.
fine.
I think
Stick
it's
it in
going to
your
look
cream of
good, mate.
rice. Put the Aero in
I,
the cream of rice instead of
oh,
the dark chocolate.
that's a great idea. I actually haven't thought about that because I put my dark chocolate. I'm going to do that, Mr. Julian. I am going to do that for sure.
See, I do come up with a good idea every now and again. Just make sure
100%.
whatever you do, because I'm a decent like choc mint fan as well.
Yeah.
Don't try any choc mint protein powders because they're all horrendous.
Yeah.
I've tried multiple brands. None of them have been that good, and they all kind of just send you straight to the toilet. So that's not ideal.
Well, yeah, I think I'll just stick with the chocolate for now.
Yeah, that's fair enough, mate. Oh, well, thank you very much, Timsy. That has been the inaugural episode of the BTP podcast, mate. Been an absolute pleasure.
Likewise, mate. And I cannot wait for this to be the first of many more episodes to come, brother.
Yep, absolutely. So you are the man behind the socials page at the moment. Tell everyone what the Instagram page is and where they can find us.
Well, you can find us on Instagram, Spotify, and YouTube, BTP_podcast_. Obviously, the social media hasn't picked up yet, but it definitely will over the next few weeks and stuff as we start making more videos and posting more. But really appreciate anyone that has followed so far. But yeah, chuck us a like, leave us some comments and feedback, anything like that. We are new to this, so we do take any advice that's given. It doesn't go unnoticed. So we appreciate everyone for support so far.
And at the end of the day, if we can bring value to one person or half a person, we've done our job. So
Mate, I
hopefully we
bring
get a
value
couple
to
of listeners in.
myself to you every week. So, I mean, it's already a win for me.
This is true. This is honestly just our excuse to catch up.
Absolutely, man. It's fantastic.
Alrighty, Timsy, let's back it out.
No worries, man. Take care. Have a good one.
Take care.